Hey guys, I got a new kit today. It's called the Edge by Glock Trigger. Pretty excited to install this in my Glock. I got a Glock 22. Let's just cycle it, make sure it's empty, no magazine. And as you can see, this is the stock trigger, and you can see how much travel I got before it breaks, and then you can see the reset. So this is a stock Glock 40 model 22. I'll probably be using this new tool. I've never used this before. It's called a track rack for Glocks. So specifically made for Gen 3s only. So model 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 31, 32, 34, 35, and 37. So yeah, let's take a look at this. So this is the Edge. Pretty stoked about using this for my 40 cal. Here's the trigger kit. As you see, it's all polished up, brand new. Still have the Ziploc tie on it. Got a 4.5 and 4 firing pin spring. This comes with a tool. And then last is these look like keepers for the spring, and then also this is a spring and the spring cup. So let's get started and dive into this. So I've never used this tool before, my track rack. So I'm going to go ahead and push this thing out from the left side to the right. The Glock has 3 trigger or 3 rolling pins. Alright, that looks like it's a little bit tight. So let me see if I can a little bit loose. Just a little tap. Alright. A little dirty. Let's clean this up. And then looks like I pull it straight up. Or before I pull it up, I need to pull this part up. A little dirty. Clean that up a little bit. I've never taken my trigger assembly apart. Alright. That looks like it right there. It's about 13 years of basically not cleaning it. Went through thousands of rounds. As you can see, this thing looks almost like factory, just polished up. So you guys can see that is the original factory that I've never ever took apart to clean. I just took my slider and pretty much cleaned it. Look like I'm gonna have to zip tie this as well. hold it in place. So here we got my bare lower receiver, and then my new trigger kit. So I'm ready to install this. So from this kit, it said it's a 3.5-pound connector spring, which is inserted in there already from the factory. So it fits like a glove. Went in real perfect. I'll put my pin back in. This is my trigger pin. Actually, I'll put that bad boy in there. Go ahead and seat it in there just so slightly. Put my rolling pin for my back. See if I can get this back in there. And this one is a little bit tricky. You do have to compress this spring down before you put the last pin in. I'm not sure if you can see that. So I usually just use a flathead and drop it down. And then roll my pin forward. And it won't go if that spring ain't compressed. So it looks like I should go just a little bit more. So everything else looks good. Start working on my receiver. And then this is the striker pin, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure everything's good. Slide it out. There's a striker. Looks like I will probably be using the 4-pound spring on this. So as you can see, the firing pin is really kind of different than the rest of the guns I've got, like a 1911, or it's just really different. It's not a single action or double action. They call it a striker. So just compress the spring down. They've got these two that looks like keepers for valves. Pretty intriguing. So just pull that out. And then I'll be installing my new spring. probably going to use the new, or reuse the old one. I took a look at the kit earlier and it looks like it's just the same. So I'll just go ahead and compress it. Slide my keepers in the spring. Slide the other one in. Make sure it's seated properly. So, yep, that looks about it. So I'll be replacing the plunger with the new plunger that came from Glock trigger. It comes with already a new spring, and this new one is polished. So just compress this and then it should slide out. It's pretty dirty. And then that's the old one. So that's the old one. This is the new one. This already has the spring in it. Insert it, compress it, and then install it. So went ahead and reinstalled my striker. Make sure this thing's all lined up. Press it. Put the back slider on. Alright, looks like everything is nice and in. Everything's functioning. Put the barrel back on. Alright. Put the upper receiver on. Everything's seems like it's functioning right. Squeeze the trigger. Oh man, what a difference. Let's take a look at this real quick. You can notice a huge difference. I mean, that 3.5 pounds is just butter. Let's take a look at this reset here. It's not much of a reset at all, you know. Really nice. And this is right out the box, so this is no adjustment where you can adjust it. I haven't adjusted. I just installed it. I'm probably gonna shoot it before I make any kind of adjustments. That's definitely day and night. You can notice a huge difference. I mean, it's just a trigger travel right to the breaking point, and you can just see it and hear it. And then see the trigger reset. It's less effort. Alright, so that's the Edge from GlockTriggers.com. I'm pretty stoked about using it.